Okay, here's a thought. What if the things you really agree on with another person? What if that agreement itself has some kind of hidden power? The ability to actually shape what happens.
Hmm. Sounds intriguing, doesn't it?
Hmm.
A bit like something out of fiction, maybe.
Right. But that's exactly what we're diving into today, an idea that suggests just that.
We are indeed. This deep dive is all about, well, the power of agreement and manifesting desires, specifically through the lens of Neville Goddard's 1971 lecture, If Any Two Agree.
And we're going straight to the source for this one.
Yep, we've got the transcript of that lecture. It's quite a mix, Goddard's interpretations of scripture, practical advice, and honestly, a pretty unsettling real-world story he shares.
A cautionary tale, perhaps.
You could definitely say that. It certainly makes you think.
So for everyone listening, the goal here is to really unpack this principle of agreement as Goddard saw it. Understand its potential, sure, but also grapple with the, let's say, implications. What happens when belief starts to shape reality?
Exactly, the potential and the responsibility that comes with it.
All right, let's get to the core principle then. Goddard kicks things off with Matthew 18.19, right?
He does. If any two of you agree on earth about any request that you must make, that request will be granted by my heavenly Father. That's the bedrock for him.
And his interpretation is pretty radical. He essentially says, God is your own imagination.
That's the crux of it, yeah. Not like God, but is. He believed all things are possible to the human imagination. It's the creative power.
So the agreement part.
Yeah.
When two people genuinely align their imaginations on something.
It amplifies that power
Yeah.
significantly. It's like focusing that creative energy.
Okay, and this leads into that story you mentioned, the unsettling one.
Right. This is where it gets very real and, well, quite memorable. Goddard talks about a friend of his.
Okay.
And this friend apparently had this remarkable ability. She could vividly hear imaginal acts.
Hear them, like, audibly.
As if they were recorded, he says. If someone formed a thought or statement with real conviction and directed it to her imaginatively, she perceived it that clearly.
Wow, that's quite something.
Isn't it? So this friend gets a request from her neighbor.
Okay.
The neighbor is bothered by what he calls a disturbing element. Nearby, a couple living there with their 3 children.
Oh boy, where is this going?
Well, the neighbor asks Goddard's friend to use her ability to essentially lend her imaginal power to his desire. He wants her to affirm that he's free of this disturbance.
So he wants her to imagine them gone.
Exactly. He specifically asked her to mentally play back the affirmation. He is free of this disturbance, that they were gone.
And because she could hear it so vividly, her agreement was incredibly potent.
That's the implication.
Yeah.
She added her focused, imaginal agreement to his desire.
And the outcome. I'm bracing myself here.
Yeah, it's stark. Goddard recounts that within just a few days, the parents of those 3 children died. They were killed in a highway accident,
Oh, wow, just gone. The parents.
leaving the children orphaned. As you can imagine, Goddard's friend was deeply, deeply disturbed.
I can only imagine questioning her role in it.
Absolutely. Did her imaginal act, her agreement, somehow contribute to this tragedy? It's a heavy question.
So how did Goddard respond? Did he hold her responsible?
It's interesting. He actually exonerated her, in a sense. He told her, you did nothing that was wrong. You simply exercised a principle.
A principle, like gravity, it just works, regardless of intent.
That seems to be his perspective. He pointed out she didn't inquire into the neighbor's motives or the specifics of how they would be gone. She just agreed to the end result requested. The power was in the agreement, the principle itself.
That's a chilling thought, honestly. The power being neutral like that.
It is, but it leads directly to Goddard's most crucial piece of advice, the major caveat.
Which is it?
Whatever you do it in love. He stresses this repeatedly.
Okay, that feels essential here.
Hugely. He even suggests that until humanity as a whole operates from that state of love, having the full power to, say, manipulate time or reality without restriction could lead to, well, horrors, like the potential unintended consequences seen in the story.
So the principle works, but our application of it needs guidance, needs love.
Precisely. It's like having immense power without the wisdom or compassion to wield it safely yet.
And Goddard pointed out, didn't he, that the neighbor's desire could have manifested differently?
Yes, exactly. The family could have moved away, found a new opportunity elsewhere.
Yeah.
Any number of non-tragic outcomes were possible. They could have simply ceased to be a disturbance in a harmless way.
So the way we imagine the outcome, the feeling behind it, matters, not just the end goal.
It seems crucial. Which ties into another core idea, This world is one's own imagination pushed out.
Meaning what we see out there starts in here, in our imagination.
That's the idea. Our perceived objective reality originates from our collective and individual imaginal activity. The outer reflects the inner.
Okay, if agreement between people is so powerful, what about agreement within ourselves? Can the two who agree be like parts of me?
That's a really key insight Goddard offers. Yes, absolutely, the two can be internal.
How does that work?
He suggests stating your desire clearly, and then within your own imagination, vividly hearing your own voice confirming it's already done, feeling the reality of it.
Like having an internal conversation where one part states the wish and another confirms its fulfillment.
Exactly. He gives the example of Professor Robert Millikan, the physicist. Apparently, Millikan used to affirm to himself, I have a lavish, steady, dependable income, consistent with integrity and mutual benefit, long before it was his physical reality.
So he was creating that internal agreement, that certainty.
He was being the two witnesses within himself, the asker and the confirmer.
Wow. Okay, that shifts things. It's not just about finding someone else to agree with you.
All right. It brings the power right back to your own internal state, your own conviction.
And Goddard connects this to different kinds of desires too, doesn't he? Not just, say, money or practical things.
Yes, he distinguishes between what he calls the world of Caesar, which is basically the material world, finances, security, the stuff the neighbor and friend were focused on.
Our everyday concerns.
Right. And contrast that with the world of promise, which is more about spiritual realization, deeper experiences.
And he asks, why limit this powerful principle just to the Caesar stuff?
Exactly. Why not use this power of agreement internal or with a trusted friend to affirm profound spiritual goals? Things like, feeling a sense of resurrection now or experiencing birth from above, these deeper transformations.
So applying the same imaginal agreement principle to spiritual growth, not just material gain.
It opens up that possibility.
Yeah.
Using imagination and agreement to shape our inner world just as much as the outer.
This really starts getting into the nature of reality itself, this idea of interconnectedness.
It does. He loved quoting Shelley. All things, by a law divine, in one another's being mingle.
Suggesting we're all fundamentally connected.
Deeply. For Goddard, this meant we are all one. An imaginal act performed by anyone, anywhere, affects the whole, because the whole is one unified consciousness, one imagination.
So my imagination isn't just my imagination, it's part of the whole thing.
In his view, yes. Your wonderful human imagination, as he calls it, is the only cause of the phenomena of life. He equates it, again, directly with God, the ultimate reality.
Okay, let's circle back to the two who agree. He has another layer to this, drawing from Scripture again.
He does, yeah. He offers an interpretation where the two symbolize the outer man and the inner man.
Outer and inner, meaning?
The outer man is our physical self, our senses, the body. He likens this to Esau from the Bible, tangible, physical. The inner man is the imagination, the creative power within. That's Jacob, or Israel, who becomes the master, the second man, the Lord from heaven.
So there's often a conflict there between what our senses tell us and what our imagination knows is possible.
Absolutely. The outer senses might say, this is impossible, you're stuck here, that can't happen. But the inner man, the imagination, can conceive of anything.
And the imagination is meant to lead, like Jacob supplanting Esau.
That's the idea. Goddard taught that the imagination, the younger or second man, is destined to rule. You use it by assuming your desire is fulfilled. Feel yourself to be where you want to be, who you want to be, until that imagined state feels more real than your current physical circumstances.
Like Jacob tricking Isaac by feeling like Esau to get the blessing. You make the imagined state feel real to your inner senses.
You got it. You embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled, overriding the evidence of the outer senses. That's the imaginal act.
Which brings us right back around to responsibility. If our imagination is that powerful,
then we have a profound responsibility for how we use it.
It comes back to love again, doesn't it?
Always. Goddard hammers this home. The golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But applied to imagination. Imagine for others as you would have them imagine for you.
So checking our motives. Asking, is this desire rooted in love? Does the imagined outcome benefit everyone involved or harm someone?
Exactly. Examine the why behind the desire. And consciously choose to imagine outcomes that are constructive, loving, and mutually beneficial. Don't just focus on getting rid of a disturbance without considering the loving way for that to happen.
Okay, so summing this all up, the big takeaway from this deep dive into Goddard's lecture is this powerful principle. Agreement, fueled by imagination, which he sees as God, can manifest reality.
Right. Whether that agreement is internal, a deep conviction within yourself, or shared with another person who aligns their imagination with yours.
And it's a massive but, this power needs to be wielded carefully, with love, with ethical consideration.
Absolutely critical. The potential is immense, but so is the need for wisdom and compassion in its use.
Which leaves us, and everyone listening, with a pretty significant question to ponder, doesn't it?
It really does. Given that your imagination has this incredible creative potential, and agreement amplifies it, what kind of world are you choosing to build with your thoughts, your feelings, your imaginal acts?
Not just for yourself, but recognizing that interconnectedness he talked about.
Exactly. For yourself and for the whole web of humanity. Are you imagining from a place of love, creating something positive? Or are you, perhaps unintentionally, contributing to something less desirable through careless imagining?
It's a lot to think about. And this deep dive, really, it just scratches the surface of Goddard's work.
Oh, absolutely. This is just one lecture, one angle. There's so much more to explore in his teachings if this resonates with you.
So we definitely encourage listeners, if you're intrigued, go deeper, read his books, listen to more lectures, see how these ideas sit with you and how you might apply them consciously and lovingly in your own life.
Definitely worth the exploration.